if you know the entire SpongeBob theme song, like myself, that doesn't mean you're a fan. I'm not either. Cartoons have been a part of pop culture for over a century now, and there's no indication of that changing anytime soon. Today, I'm here to talk to you about how cartoons are for adults. And yes, that means the one geared for children as well. Many have adult humor and messages that kids just wouldn't understand. I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. I've zoned out with Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. I couldn't sleep and stayed up with Adult Swim. I became a parent and started the cycle all over again, watching PBS Kids and the Disney Channel. With all of this cartoon watching, I've picked up on the undertones of what cartoons have to offer. Cartoons offer insight on adult themes like substance use, mental health, and politics. And these are not new topics for these adult themes either. In 1934, a man named Will H. Hayes, who was the president of the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America, set in motion the Motion Picture Production Code, also known as the Hays Code. This code prohibited profanity, suggestive nudity, graphic or realistic violence, and sexual persuasions. This limited companies to the content that they were producing and were popular at the time with characters such as Buddy Boop. Later, the code was lifted in 1968, which led to cartoons like Fritz the Cat in 1972, which became the first animated film to receive an X rating. Fast forward to today, there are a variety of cartoons with these types of content, such as South Park or BoJack Horseman and The Simpsons. Shows like The Simpsons and South Park have been around for decades, winning awards for their content and primetime viewing. With shows like this leads me to my next point. Many cartoons are not for kids. Todd McFarlane's Spawn, 1997, was an animated series based on the comic book of the same name that ran for 3 seasons on HBO. This adult cartoon is an example of how in no way, shape, or form is marketed towards children. This series contained graphic depictions of violence, murder, torture, drug abuse, and sexual intercourse, while also addressing issues such as political corruption, objective morality, child abuse, fear, revenge, and redemption. In 2001, the Cartoon Network dedicated a block of late-night shows aimed towards the adult audience called Adult Swim. This provided shows like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which was set up like a late-night talk show host. Today, you can find cartoons of all kinds on networks geared for both adults and kids alike. This brings up my next point. Even cartoons geared towards children have adult content. You remember those moments as a child and you're watching a cartoon and you don't quite get the joke? Or you've been watching a cartoon with a child and you can't believe they can get away with that kind of humor. It's been happening for decades. Take the Looney Tunes, for example. These cartoons were originally made for adults, but Warner was made to cut and edit their content to be appropriate for all ages, which means the original adult humor remains, but with the added slapstick comedy for kids to understand and enjoy. SpongeBob SquarePants is another cartoon that comes to mind when thinking about how kids' cartoons has adult content with characters like Squidward or Plankton that often offer cynical remarks that children are not going to understand. These are clear indications that cartoons are not just for kids. Whether you enjoy cartoons as an adult is a matter of opinion, but many cartoons that are marketed for children have some amount of adult themes, references, or jokes in them, perhaps to make them more appealing to adults that happen to be watching cartoons with their children, or maybe the creators just want to put jokes they think are funny to their project, regardless if the children understand them. Not only are children's cartoons more approachable to adults thanks to subtle humor and references, but entire cartoon franchises are explicitly created with adults as the target audience. However, you convey a message is not important if your message impacts a person. It doesn't matter if a cartoon is saying it, That is why I think cartoons are for adults, and you should too. Thank you. That's all, folks.